Welcome to Buckets and Bubbles. You're looking happy, Mike.
Yeah, it's a very good week.
Yeah, a bit like your social media team. They're a bit happier as well this week that I've noticed.
You can always tell when we've had a win because the amount of shit they put out, it just grows. They're like, oh, we can put this out now. We haven't seen it, have it. Extended highlights, have it. Let's interview this person.
Correct. That's been going on big time. I did notice, I didn't screenshot it, but I did notice that they'd, because your boy Potts had a good game, and I noticed that they did quite a few little bits with Potts, didn't they? And the legacy of the Potts and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's mad. I think Steve Potts, his dad, did 200 appearances, something like that, and I think he scored twice in that. So they're already the countdown to breaking his dad's record.
Of course they are, because he had a good game, bless him. Fair enough. Before we get cracking though, why is it called Buckets and Bubbles?
Because no idea. Still not. Hang on.
See what ChatGPT's got to say about it. Yeah, go on.
Is it called Buckets and Bubbles? Car wash slang. It literally comes from washing cars. Buckets and bubbles being the classic setup, a bucket of soapy water and bubbles flying everywhere. Bit of elbow grease, and the phrase started getting used as a nickname for cheap car washers or fundraising.
All right, so there's a couple of words we could take from that. Gritty, Huddersfield Town. They talk about being the Northern Football Club, which is gritty. I don't really know what it means, Northern Football, so I'll have that.
Yeah.
And the other one that stood out there was cheap.
Yeah.
I think that probably represents both our clubs.
Yeah, definitely. Cheap is, that's definitely West Ham.
Shall I do social media? Let me do social media. I'll do social media. Right. So first of all, we know the two games. So you played Newcastle, and I noticed that your guys went a bit different this time. They did. Let me just pull it up. There were, as far as I could see, there was no players. No players on this one. It was just, as you can see here, it was just the West WHUFC above Newcastle NUFC. Very simple, black and white. They went old school. Is it old school? I don't know. But they went simple. And I wonder whether they'd done that because they thought, oh, God, it's going to be another nightmare. But it wasn't a nightmare, was it?
No.
And since then, you can talk about the game in a minute. Since then, happy days. They've gone absolutely nuts. They've done, as you've just said, they've done stuff on everyone, basically.
Yeah.
Everything, training. They've gone absolutely mental.
They've even posted Enna Valencia's birthday. Enna Valencia, who's not played for us for a very long time and only stayed with us very briefly. He's a decent player, but not somebody you'd think would warrant necessarily a massive kind of birthday shout out. He's a He was here and he was decent and he went. But this week, just at any excuse. Do you know what I mean? Maud, the tea lady, happy birthday. Do you know we won Newcastle?
Yeah, correct. And we'll talk about the game in a minute. I thought you thoroughly deserved it. Newcastle were very, very poor, which will be worrying.
But that's not the reason they lost.
Well, a little bit. The reason that they lost.
No.
And we know that there's been protests and stuff like that. What's going on with all that stuff?
Yeah, continuing. I have seen there has been another protest announced. I'm not sure exactly the details because I've not watched that announcement video. I've had.
Do you mean you've got better things to do with your time?
Slightly. Although I'm behind the protests 100%. Just to cover me back.
Solidarity, brother. Yeah, solidarity.
Because, there are other people in this space who are absolutely promoting the and are, anti-board, as you like, and who, because they didn't march the entire thing, have been absolutely lambasted. But, yeah, that's just people, innit?
Yep.
What was I saying? Yeah, so I got the email from the supporters board and all that kind of stuff, and there it is continuing. And there was what I thought was a nice thing is prior to not the Newcastle game but the previous game, there was an open letter sent to Nuno and the team when it was our first home game with those in charge from Hammers United, the organisation who were organising the protests, and it was a really nice kind of lovely open letter saying, we support the team, we support you, we want you to feel that the crowd is behind you and we've got your back. All this really nice stuff. This is a reflection on our are opinion of the board and has nothing to do with you. So basically mitigating that whole thing of the media saying, "Oh, you got to support your team," blah blah blah, like Talksport and all those knobheads. So that it's ongoing. It'll continue until Sullivan and Brady leave or are in such a position that they are no longer decision makers at the club.
Well, let me make you feel a bit better, or maybe not. Let me ask you your opinion on this. So, I sent you a Premier League thing, which I'll put up now, which is 2024-25 versus 25-26, the league table. Now, the first thing that pops out on me here is that if you look at both of these tables, Wolves are bottom. They've got 2 points from 10 games this time. Of course, Wolves survived.
Yeah.
They were absolutely fine. You had 11 points. And where did you finish? Did you finish about 14th?
In the end, we finished above Man United and Spurs, which is the only fact I want to remember from that season.
So it's about 14, 15.
Yeah,
so you finished roughly where you were.
Yeah.
Who went down? Southampton, Ipswich, and the thing that worries me is Leicester. 10 points from 10 games. They went down.
Yeah.
Crashed and burned.
Yeah.
What stands out for you there?
I mean, specifically at West Ham, we are 4 points difference from where we were last season, which is 4 places in terms of where we were in the league. Forest are right. No, I'm looking at the wrong way. Yeah,
Yeah.
Forest are right at the top, and this, after 10 matches now, Forest are just behind us. Wolves, like you say, are stuck to the bottom. Everton are doing better. Brentford are about where they are. Newcastle are about the same. So that kind of like middle bit, there's a lot of familiarity there. Where it starts to differ, you've got Bournemouth right up in 5th this year. Sunderland, obviously, who weren't in last season. Spurs are about where they are. Chelsea are thereabouts.
Because my worry here is that when I look at this, if I looked at last season, if I was Leicester, which is sort of the position that we're in, at this point, I'd have been thinking to myself, oh my God, Wolves are gone. Southampton are probably gone. Ipswich, we're going to be absolutely fine. We're going to be fine. Because I was looking at it before the weekend. I was thinking, Wolves are gone. Nottingham Forest look like they're out and about. Burnley are below us. They're not looking great. And then suddenly now I'm going, hang on a minute. West Ham haven't got a shit. They're not Ipswich or Southampton. Nottingham Forest are not Ipswich or Southampton. I'm thinking we are right in the shit.
I mean, if you look at it like that in terms of teams that have traditionally survived, I mean, Forest, are they at a point where you could call them an established Premier League team? How many seasons have they been back in the top division now? Is it 5? 2?
No. It's 2, 3. I think. Yeah. No, maybe more than that. I don't know. 3, 4, maybe.
Yeah.
This might be the
somewhere
4.
in the middle. Somewhere like I don't think it's been forever. Like I kind of feel like you need to be knocking on 10 years. In terms of Premier League history, so when the Premier League started, we were relegated the season before, the season when Leeds won the title. And so we were never the established teams in the start of the Premier League. We got promoted straight after, and we've been relegated twice since. I still don't feel like, even though we are, at last count, something like the 9th most successful Premier League team of all time, we are, in terms of points scored, in terms of the world football scores, we're in the top 20. West Ham are an enormous club with an enormous presence in the top division. Up until maybe winning the Europa Cup, Europos Cupos, I really didn't feel like an established Premier League team for a long time, because it's such a dicey league. Leicester, who won the league and had been relegated and come back up, but like Leicester are an enormous club. And like you said, they dropped like a stone. 10 points in 10 games is reasonably good, and they dropped like a stone.
For me, especially after this weekend, especially after what happened at Brighton, I'll talk about that briefly later. I think it's Wolves, Burnley, Leeds. I just don't see those 3 teams having the same individual quality to turn a game, to do what your guys did on Saturday or Sunday or whenever it was. Nottingham Forest have got players that can do that. You've certainly got good players that can do that. I don't think us and Burnley have. I think Wolves actually probably do have a couple of those players, but that I don't think they've got enough. But Everton have, Fulham have, Newcastle certainly have.
Yeah.
I think even Brentford have. Aston Villa won't be down there. I think it's I think it's going to be a real scrap now.
Yeah.
Well, let me just show you this, because I'll round up the social media stuff.
Right.
So this is Premier League stats for Leeds. I didn't find yours. I'll get yours for next time. 10 games, 3 wins, goals scored 9, goals conceded 17.
Yeah.
Now, there's a problem here, because what we were told as Leeds fans was that we've shored up the defence. We've brought the big bastards in. Big Bastards FC. Again, my friends at the Square Ball talk about this. The Big Bastards FC. So we brought in 2, giant defenders. We brought a midfielder in who's a big, strong lad. All the rest of it. We're going to shore it. We're going to be hard to beat. Well, we're conceding a lot of goals, considering we're supposed to be hard to beat.
Yeah.
And we're not scoring at the other end. So we're essentially in trouble. We didn't have a shot on target against Brighton until about the 90th minute, or whatever it was. Not one shot on target. You're going, it's not good enough. Not one of the players against Brighton were anywhere near. Let me just show you this, which I thought was quite cheeky. They didn't do it on purpose, but this one from Brighton, which was on Instagram, as you can see, and it's just a picture saying, please keep off the pitch. Well, that's exactly what Leeds did. Just didn't bother going on the pitch. They read that sign and went, oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, just stay up bench. Yeah.
Yeah. Just couldn't be asked. I will just put up Brighton's match day thing, which they've done something similar to what you did when you played us, when you put Somerville. They've put Georgie Ruta, who obviously came from us, and he ran it. He was an absolute colossus.
They're paying the same kid on Fiverr to do theirs as we do.
Yeah, quite possibly. It's very similar, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a very similar look.
He's just got the same preset in Photoshop. In Canva, even. He's not even got Photoshop, it's Canva.
Correct.
Yeah.
Ours from the club was a bit shit, but it's a bit boring. Brighton Leeds, it's just the front cover of the programme, I think, or a Leeds programme anyway. Brendan Aronson, who did nothing in the game, but then none of them did, to be fair. So let me brighten up the end of the social media with Anton Stach. I liked that one.
Yeah.
With his little ginger ponytail and his little goldfish in
Braces.
a bag. Remember braces? Yeah. Goldfish in a bag. Remember that?
Yeah, Uck a Duck.
Can't do that anymore.
No.
It's cruel.
I once wrote to Blue Peter saying that I had the oldest living goldfish after it had lived for 9 years, and it was just 52 of them that my mother had just kept buying every time it died.
Of course it had. I was just about to say it's Trigger's broom, isn't it?
Yeah. Brilliant.
You wrote it.
9-year-old me going. Oh, and it was called Derek as well. What a name for a fish.
They were called Derek.
They were called Derek, yeah.
Yeah, they were called Derek. Yeah, and that's not a pronoun thing. It's just because there's
lots of them. It's a multiple.
Lots of them. Yeah. Although, if the goldfish wanted to be a they can be a they.
Fair enough.
That's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Let me briefly say about the game. You can put the team news up if you like. I can't even remember who played because, as usual, this is days afterwards. It didn't matter who played. We could have played this game for 5 hours. We would never have scored. Brighton was so much better than us. And we can say we had this possession, we had that, and he came out afterwards, and it's just getting a bit boring, really, saying, we were in the game with the stats, and it was just the quality. And he's right. I mean, he's absolutely right.
I'm going to say you picked him just on possession a little bit, but it's literally like 0.2%.
Yeah, but once they so this more or less for me, this is how the game went. There was quite a bit of talk after the game on BBC Radio Leeds about the keeper. And when I was watching the game, I didn't particularly think that Perry was really at fault. And I suppose this is a tactic thing. There was a couple of times where, so there was this point where he passed out to Ampadu in midfield. Ampadu dropped short for the ball, like they do. Those holding midfielders drop short for the ball. So and then they were going on. He shouldn't have given him that ball because there were 2 players around him, and they're right. But at the same time, Ampadu's the captain. If he's running towards the goalkeeper saying, give me the ball, what's the keeper going to do? The keeper's going to give him the ball.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's and I know the keeper has to make a decision and like he can see the game. I get that. But at the same time, I'm not sure that's the keeper's fault.
No. And it's one of those things where if that had come off and, he'd run up the pitch and scored or whatever, that movement would have been absolutely the insight to play him in and all that, you know what I mean?
Correct.
And it's literally just like, in hindsight, yeah, it wasn't great, but in the moment, that felt like the option that was on, that was going to result in something, so you take it. Absolutely. Yeah.
And interestingly, when I was thinking about the match, I was thinking about some of the things you've said in recent weeks about, especially about the striker being isolated. Calvert-Lewin, everybody sort of, Calvert-Lewin's not doing this, not doing. What could he do? I mean, he was so isolated against two really good centre halves, and you're going, there's nobody near him. So if he gets that ball, if he flicks it on, if he holds it, and he's got nobody else around him, so he's not going to do anything with it. Yeah. Of course, he's going to lose it. So I just thought, I'm hoping it was just a complete off day, but it just highlighted. I think maybe the highlight was actually Okafor looked decent. He looked dangerous. He had the beating of their left back a couple of times, and that looked nice. Keep him fit and we'll be fine. Calvert-Lewin came off with an injury. I think that's a big problem. But neither fullback, who have been brilliant all season, were particularly great. So I'm hoping it's a bit of a blip. But what it does remind me, like I've just talked about earlier, is we just don't have enough quality. We do, and unless they do something in January, which I don't think they will, then I think we are more banging trouble than I thought we were going to be. I always thought, I said at the very beginning, didn't I, that I thought it was going to be a struggle all season, but I thought we would have enough, and I'm now worried that we haven't got enough.
I always go back to Mikel Antonio, and when it was around the time Moyes was leaving, maybe just before, and he did an interview with Callum Wilson, I think, on their podcast. And he was talking about, if you want to score goals at West Ham under this system, you're working on scraps. Absolutely working on scraps. And I feel like Mikel Antonio is the exception to how that process is meant to happen, in the fact that he could take a ball down, take a shot, and in his heyday, when he was in his prime, he was unplayable. Like I say, he's the exception, and I don't think strikers in those systems are there to do anything else than just hold up a ball and pass it back to an attacking midfielder. And it's that once you then get a team who are on the offensive and your attacking midfielders are then having to take up defensive duties, that link is just, and you're destined to fail. There's nothing you can do in that game to progress that ball to, so you just, and this is what we saw under Moyes towards the end when, Mikel Antonio was struggling. We didn't have that outlet that was able to kind of make something of it. And so we just ended up with lots of defensive movements, kicking up to a ball to somebody who couldn't really do anything with it. And it's just like, yeah, pointless.
Yeah, no, completely. And you're absolutely right, because I think what disappointed me, it was 1-0 at half-time, I think. And then at half-time, the changes weren't made, and that's fair enough. He might have got him in the dressing room, give him a bit of a roasting, and said, "Get back out there and let's try and turn this game around." It didn't happen, and he made a few substitutes, and then they instantly scored. I think they very quickly scored a couple of goals, and it's game over. As soon as they scored that next goal, it's game over. And so of course they sat back and let us have the ball, because they were just like, well, you've got to score 4 goals now. So you're not going to do that against us. And so we had more of the ball. Of course we did. Right, hang on a minute. We're really chasing the game here. Why not bring Pirro on, play him in number 10, sit with 2 holding midfielders, and just try something a bit different. It just didn't really happen. And you've got a technical player who might not be Premier League. It might not be good enough. That's fine. But to be fair, he's had like half an hour maybe. Yeah. Give him a chance.
Yeah, but it's one of those things, isn't it, where it's like you see. I mean, I was just looking then when the substitutions were made, and they're made with a decent amount of time. They're all around between 60 and 70 minutes, and you're like, there's enough. There's half an hour there. You can affect the game. So what you're going to do to affect the game is to bring on your second string players to continue playing a system that up until this point hasn't worked with your first choice players. And I'm like,
yeah. I mean, there is an argument to say, Tanaka had a decent game, and I think he started this game. Yeah. And there is an argument to say away from home against a Brighton or teams that are established. There's an argument to for Stach, but you don't know what's going on in training. You don't know if people have got niggles. You don't know if people have been ill, etc., etc. So I'm really writing this one off, and I'm hoping, especially because Brighton played midweek, and I know they made a lot of changes. But you're thinking, just get at them. Yeah. A little bit like we did with you guys. It was like, get at them for the first 20 minutes, really get at them and see if we can get a couple of goals like we did. And then it almost doesn't matter what happens in the second half or whatever, because you've got that couple of goals. But they just didn't. They didn't do anything, and it was poor. It was poor. So fuck them.
Yeah. Right. All right. We won 3-1. It was great.
Newcastle were far, weren't they?
I mean, there were, but I think that we were. I think we were good enough to win. We deserved it. We didn't.
You definitely deserved it.
You know,
we definitely. But Newcastle was shit.
The reason why we won is because we played well.
Well,
against a poor Newcastle team.
I think they let you play well, didn't they? No, your players turned up. Turned up.
And it was a Premier League debut in terms of a start for Freddie Potts, who, I mean, we spoke about earlier. You know, he's the third member of his family to play for West Ham. He's an academy product. He's a West Ham boy through and through, and it's
I
nice
do know that now because your social media has gone absolutely mental with it, haven't they?
Yeah.
Did he get man of the? Oh, you're not allowed to say man of the match. Are you player of the match? Now,
he did get player of the match, and deservedly so, because I think he was the difference. He was absolutely the difference. He was. I mean, there's been lots of talk in the last few days from lesser podcasts, I shall say, with a big, massive
wow.
You know, tongue in cheek. You know, I'm being slightly sarcastic. In that people are going, oh, you know, he's a West Ham, you know, he's a midfielder coming through the academy who's had a decent start in the Premier League, and going, oh, he's your new Declan Rice. Totally different player. And it really shows. Yeah, I mean, like Freddie Potts is whereas Declan Rice is a marauding defensive midfielder. Like Freddie Potts.
How old is he, Potts? How old is he?
He's 22, something like that. Okay. I know he's older than.
He's still young.
Yeah.
Still young.
I think he's older than Fernandez. And Fernandez is like 21, and he's older than Diouf. Yeah, so it's one of those things. Nuno seems to have come in, and in a very short amount of time, he hasn't mentioned the academy like other people have come in and gone, oh, you know, the Academy of Football, blah blah blah, Bobby Moore, blah, 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 and done nothing with it. And like Moyes is one of those who always talks about the importance of youngsters, even though, you know, you could probably credit him with instilling Declan Rice into the player he left us. You know what I mean? He's the person who I think had the greatest influence on him as a player, even though he wasn't the one who gave him his debut. I think Nuno has said nothing and done more. You know, he's given more academy players more time and given them a better experience than anybody has in 10 years. And that's really lovely to see. Mark Noble being the sporting director and effectively in charge of the academy these days, being an academy graduate himself, part of the training ground is named after Mark Noble, so him now being in charge feels like...
Just say Mark Noble again, just to say it again.
Mark Nobes.
Yeah.
Just him being there, you can tell there's a difference in how that pathway works. And we've just signed a couple of the other under 18s and under 23s, is it now, under 21s, whatever it is, to longer term deals. They've just been announced, which is great. So it's like you say, we've had a win, so all the news has come out now. So that might have been done a month ago, but we're not going to talk about that after Brentford spanked us. Yeah, and seeing Freddie Potts going out there and doing what we know that he can do. You know, this is the reports we had when he was out on loan last season. Like, he's a star player who can make things happen. And his relationship with Fernandez and Paqueta, I don't know why I said that in a slightly Portuguese accent. Paqueta.
It was good. I liked it.
It was good, yeah.
It's really you're feeling more confident about it now.
Yeah. Even though I think it's Paqueta is the correct pronunciation of it.
Okay.
But you could see... That's the three that should always, like we said at the very start of the season, that's the three. It's Fernandez, it's Potts, it's Paqueta, and it never happened. You know, Andy Irving and Thomas Souček, who does what Thomas Souček does brilliantly, and I love him, but he should. Good girl. Like, that's exactly what he's there for. He's just to follow in second balls, be massive, and just do the helicopter afterwards. Love it. But we shouldn't be having Ward-Prowse and Souček and Andy Irving, you know, all of whom have got their skills, and it should have always been Potts, Fernandez, Paqueta, and I think Nuno's, I hope he carries on with it. That's the thing. It's like, is this a one-off, and he's just going to sit back to, you know, bring on Guido Rodriguez, or, you know. Yeah,
well, if there's no injuries, he's not going to change that.
No, you can't change a winning team. No. It's the old thing, isn't it? Don't change a winning team. And I was thrilled that I was sort of proved right with Callum Wilson. Like, start Callum Wilson and he will do stuff. Yeah. And he was tricky. He was in and out. He was, you know, pushing lines and all that stuff. And he had an effect on the game, a positive effect on the game. The second their goal went in, after we'd just hit the bar, and then they went straight back to the other side and scored. At that point, I thought, here we go. Same old. But it never happened. Like, that goal from Paqueta, I think, is a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about him being one of those players who should be able to win a game for you, and I think he demonstrated that against Newcastle. Is that he put the effort in and he played a game which I wouldn't say he single-handedly won us that game, but that goal was the tipping point. That goal and the manner in which he scored it, everybody was up, you
Correct.
know. And
that's exactly what happened, and that's exactly what a player like that does. It's like I was saying, it's exactly what we lack, is a player doing that to say, no, hang on, we're in this game, we can do this, and it lifted absolutely everybody. Now, historically for you, I think that has been Bowen.
Yeah.
And actually, if Bowen's shot again doesn't hit the post and it goes in, or the bar, or wherever it hit, then perhaps that does it.
Yeah.
But you just need that moment.
So, own goal, which I think fine. Wan-Bissaka running in, I'm fine with that. I think we should have been 3 goals, and I think that, I think we should have been that. So I'm happy with taking an own goal on that one. Of course I am, because it's a goal for us. And then the last, it was a little bit nervy. I think in that second half, I think there was a little bit of kind of right. We need to hang on to this a little bit, and that's borne out in the stats. You can see, the attacking prowess of Newcastle starts to kind of, because they're trying to bring it back even. The thing which I think is really interesting, and I will hold my hands up and say, is Kilman and Todibo played like £80 million worth of centre backs. They must have listened last week.
You are such a flip flopper.
But they
classic fan.
They must have listened last week when I kept banging on about the fact that how have we paid £80 million for these two absolute shithouses, and they've gone, do you know what, Mike's right. Let's use our
I think he said that in his interview.
Yeah,
he said Mike's right.
Yeah, with £80 million, we should be able to deal with it. But you could see like Kilman, like absolutely being that last gasp, kind of stick his body in the way, and it's like it seemed like every clearance came off his head at one point.
So it goes back to the quality of player, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So this is the thing about our squad, best in the Championship last year by miles, blah 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 blah. And what the difference between a decent Premier League player and then players that are decent is that they can do it consistently. And I think that's the proof in the pudding with your 2 centre halves, isn't it? It's like, okay, you're 80 million quid's worth. You've done it against Newcastle. You played well. What happens on Saturday or Sunday? Do it again.
Do it against Burnley. Yeah. And it's like if that's the case, if Nuno's unlocked something in the potential of this team, this starting 11, and they are anywhere near 80% of what they did against Newcastle, I think that bodes well for the rest of the season.
Go on, gives you stinker.
The stinker is the linesman who called Fred Potts' goal offside, because it wasn't Freddie Potts who was offside. It was Thomas Souček's size 12s, and it was his little toe.
Correct.
And it's like, I don't get how that, like I understand that the refereeing staff are all professionals and world class and perform to a level, and but how was he able to see 2 centimetres of Thomas Souček's foot offside enough to raise the flag? Was he just raising the flag because he was a bit like, I'm going to raise it because I'm a Newcastle fan? I'm casting aspersions there that probably don't exist. But it's that kind of thing. I just think I can't see the reason why anybody would raise the flag.
But he was offside, so it'd have been chalked off anyway.
I know, but that's the thing. Technically, to let the law is offside. In the spirit of the game, I don't think it should count. I don't think that's offside.
Yeah, but VAR would have given it offside.
Yeah, but this is why I'm saying that's the stinker.
Oh, I see. So the linesman and VAR.
Yeah, because that I just think it's a nonsense decision. 5 years ago, that'd have been given.
Oh, listen, mate. No, well, not 5 years. It wouldn't have done, because we had an incident with Patrick Bamford. I think it was against Aston Villa. Can't quite remember, where he pointed to where he wanted the ball.
Yeah.
And the ball was played through, and because the sleeve of his arm was that far in front of it was offside. And it was like, hang on a minute, he's pointing for the ball. It's not his foot, it's not his body, he's pointing. Anyway.
I think somebody did the maths as well and said if Thomas Souček wore a size 10, that'd have been onside.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I remember saying, your feet are too big.
Yeah.
You know what they say about men with big feet?
Big socks.
Correct.
Yeah. Your minute is, should Patrick Bamford have been released?
I don't need a minute on that. I probably do need a minute, actually. Where is it? So Patrick Bamford apparently is training with Fat Frank at Coventry, or was. Now, whether he's been given a contract now, I've not been keeping up with it. I'm not sure. So should he have been released? I mean, the proof of the pudding at the moment is no, he shouldn't. But this is maybe even a slight link to the minute that you're going to give. But it'd have been on 140, 150 grand a week, and he's injury prone. Last time we were in the Premier League, in that last season, he was in and out. He's been in and out for the last 4 years. He didn't score enough goals. So would he be doing any better than Calvert-Lewin? Horses for courses. They've took a gamble. I still think probably it is better that he's not, that he's moved on, that he's going to be left with the legacy of, his 20 odd goals under Bielsa and all the rest of it. So should he have been released? It'd have been nice to keep him around, but we can't afford it.
Fair enough. It's absolutely, yeah.
That's quite sensible.
Yeah, I can't argue with any of it.
How much is Paquetá, whatever however you're supposed to say it.
That's it.
Paquetá.
Yeah.
Okay. How much is he going to be sold for in January, and why?
So Paquetá is going to be sold in January. I think we should be not accepting anything below 48 million, which feels quite precise. I think 50 is a tipping point when you're talking about a different class of player who's consistent. I think 48 is enough of a, like, we will go out and say he's 60 million, and I think we'll agree 48, depending on who it is. And I think that's exactly right, because he's not consistent, but he is brilliant. And given the right circumstances, given the right squad, given the right team, the right manager, whatever, he could be consistent. He was consistent at Lille. Was it Lille we bought him from? I think it might have been. And he was really good. And I think when he gets that, he's absolutely worth every penny of 48 million. And we would gratefully accept it, because we need to offset Fulkrug, who is off as well. There we go.
I don't think you're disappointed if Fulkrug goes, are you?
No, I mean, what's he done? I mean, I like the guy. I think he's really good. And I think he's one of those people you like to have in, like, I like a German player. Like when Thomas Hitzelsberger was in Der Hammer. Like, what a better player to play for West Ham than a man called Der Hammer. And great absolutely, name, yeah. He was injured. And this is the thing. German internationals get injured on German internationals when they play for West Ham. Like Fulkrug, all his injuries have come, apart from one, I think, while he's been away with Germany. Thomas Hitzelsberger was the same. But I'll always remember that goal he scored against Burnley in FA Cup when we absolutely mullered him 5-1. And it was 40 yards, curler, top corner, like, welcome to West Ham. What a guy. But yeah, Fulkrug, nice guy, but his agents come out and said, we intend to leave West Ham. Do you? Do you intend to leave West Ham? You're under contract. Like, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Fair enough. At home to Burnley on Saturday. What's your prediction on that?
I don't think we're going to be as marauding as we were. I think that was maybe a time and a place against Newcastle. I think the best I can hope is maybe 80% of that. 1-0, 2-1, something like that. 3
points puts a different spin on the season, especially against Burnley.
I think back-to-back wins is what we need. Back-to-back wins.
Yeah. We're away at Forest, who are playing in Europe tonight. It'd be interesting to see what team they put out. I think we've got to win. I think if we don't win, I think if they beat us, we're in big trouble. I think if we win, it puts it puts a lot of space between us and Nottingham Forest. But I think you just need some sort of result going in, especially with the games coming up. Sam Allardyce to Wolves, I've seen today.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, how old is he now? So. He's got to be.
I hope so.
He's got to be about 80 now, that lad, hasn't he? Sam Allardyce.
They've got to. They've got to be. They've been gurgling around that plug hole for so long. They've got to be out of there. I'm praying they are anyway.
Yeah, I think we've got a few irons in the fire, pardon the pun, of a couple of their players. I think it's probably going to come our way in January, potentially, if not in the summer. If they go down, absolutely.
We might talk about that next time, so have a think about that, because this Paquetá money, this 48 million, has got to be spent on something.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Right. That's about it then, isn't it?
Adios. Don't forget
Adios.
like and subscribe and all that,
Do all that.
because it helps, and it helps our 6 viewers see us.
Let's not pretend we do it for anything other than just to talk.
Yeah, just
Because it's good to talk, Mike.
it is. It's good to talk. I mean,
Correct.
Bob Hoskins and all that.
Yep.